What's going on? It's Chris and Emily from LifterLMS, and you know what day it is. It's Feature Friday. Today, what we're going to do is go into a new feature that is part of the LifterLMS continuing education add-on, which is super powerful for tracking continuing education hours or credits and all the features you would ever want if you were using a learning management system to deliver continuing education. Today, we're going to go into a sub-feature of LifterLMS continuing education, which is the ability to allow students to retake the exact same course, which is different from a course cohort. And there's a lot of ways you can do it. The main things we're going to show you today is how to set up an access plan so that the students' data, like their progress data, and essentially their enrollment will expire after a certain amount of time. And then that means once that expires, that they can, retake the course, the same course, and earned the continuing education credits again. Think about a CPR course. It's common in industries like in tourism or with lifeguards or summer camp counselors that you have to take CPR every year and kind of recertify into the same program. We're going to show you how to do that all in one course. And also, as a site owner, to manually expire somebody's data so that you can then allow them to re-enroll on their own whenever you want to. So we're going to show you both ways of how to allow your students to retake the same course again in LifterLMS. Over to you, Emily.
Thank you, Chris. So jumping into the back end of WordPress, let me know if my audio is messed up too. But last time we talked about continuing education, so check out our video about how to rename your units and everything like that. What we're going to talk about is how to allow your continuing education units to expire. There are a couple ways to do that. So if I edit any of my courses, scroll down. Reminder again, we have our continuing education units area under the general settings, but these continuing education credits that we set, for example, on this course, I have 5 continuing education credits that you earn for completing it. We can set them to expire. So if I scroll to my access plan settings, so I have the Start Strong is the name of my access plan. Let me open it up, scroll down. We're going to look at course data settings. So there's a description here of when course data is to be deleted. So we can say expires from order date after. We can say maybe 1 year, and we can change whether we want this to be 1 year, whether we want it to be 6 months, whether we want it to be multiple years. I know a continuing education professional who wants to retain data for like 3 years, and that's one way that they handle things, is that after 3 years, your data gets removed and they're no longer storing that in their database, and students can retake the courses. This becomes a really convenient way for people to retake your courses in LifterLMS. So whether you are using continuing education or not, this could be useful to both examples, but especially for continuing education, because a lot of continuing education professionals will need to recertify. So you can sell them the same course over and over again. There's a couple different ways to do it, and you're going to want to think about it in depth. So you'll see access expiration and course data settings. The names almost feel similar. Access expiration has been in Lifter for a long time. So that's going to say LifterLMS access to this course is going to expire after 3 years, and your data from the course is going to be removed after 3 years. So this is a really interesting way to say after the 3-year period, you're going to be unenrolled and your data is going to be removed. But you could give them lifetime access and then remove their data after 3 years. What might more practically happen is that they get lifetime access for a one-time payment, and they have their data removed 1 year after purchasing so they could recertify. There's a couple different ways that you could set this up, but Just look at both of these settings and how they work together. This is kicking a student out of a course and making them repurchase, and this is deleting their progress data. There's another way to do this as an admin as well. So this system is automatic. So it says course data removal expires from order date after 1 year. But we could also delete their data as an admin. So if we need to go through and do some backtracking, now that the LifterLMS continuing education add-on features are available, you may want to go through and delete course progress data from students who've made progress before this add-on was released, or you may want to manually delete course data for your users. If you want to do that, you go to LifterLMS reporting, find a specific student, look at their courses, and then you can see for CADE here, I can delete their course data for any of their 3 courses. So progress is 85%. If I click delete course data, we'll see that that is now back at 0 and their grade is back for them to start taking that course again. This is a really cool way to be able to reset progress so that this learner can go through that same content again. And the cool thing about it is that you can re-trigger engagements. So if you have a certificate, like let me give you an example on my user account. So Arthur Wells, if I edit my user, we'll see on my dashboard that I have done the line cook course, kitchen line cooking course. I've done it a couple of times and I've earned a couple certificates. You can see I've earned both of them today, December 9th, because I was running a test, but we can imagine that this was earned 2026, this was earned 2025, and maybe I'm going to take the course again for 2027. And so what we might do is our user may have their access expire automatically because I set up the rules in the access plan. But let's imagine I delete their data here. So kitchen line cooking course, delete course data. We'll click OK. Their progress will go from 100% in the line cooking course back to 0%, which if I go to my dashboard, we'll see that same course is back at 0%. It's a single lesson course, so I can jump in, do all the learning I need to do to complete the course again, and earn another certificate. So I've earned maybe my 2027 course. And that's how we can use the same course year over year to earn more certificates. Just want to show you this real quick. So I should have 3 certificates now for the line cooking course. So this is a really good feature. So year over year, you can use the same course by either deleting it manually or working with the access plan data removal settings. What do you think about that, Chris?
That's awesome. Rock solid demo. And for the curveball for you, could you explain to us the different reasons why you would want to do this version of working with course data expiry versus doing a course cohort, which is comes from another add-on that LifterLMS makes? Like, how are they different, and when should you use one and not the other?
Yeah, that's a great question. LifterLMS also has a cohorts add-on, which if you're an Infinity Bundle customer, you'll have access to all of our add-ons, but cohorts add-on allows you to click this new cohort button. So you saw in my example, I took the kitchen line cooking course like 3 times, 1 year, the next year, and the following year. The cohorts add-on allows us to copy the course. So functionally, we would get the kitchen line cooking course for 2025, the kitchen line cooking course for 2026, and the kitchen line cooking course for 2027. You could create multiple groups of people going through the course. Sometimes with continuing education, there is manual facilitating that goes on where the instructor of a course is paying attention to each individual student who signs up and goes through the course. They're tracking their progress, tracking their learning, and it's a very involved process. Cohorts is very, very good for that involved process, because if you have hundreds of students who've taken your content, it's probably going to be hard to track all of their progress through one single course unless you're super organized and super on top of it. That's where cohorts comes into play, where you can have 15 students who are taking your course this quarter for their continuing education credit. And that'll give you a cohort of, let's say, 20, 30 people, whatever you set your course up to handle. You can take them through the course, you can change the name of it, you can edit the curriculum, you can even discontinue the course's existence. It gives you so much more control to have cohorts and continuing education when you can control that class of people going through the course. But the consideration is why you might want to not go with cohorts is because you'll create a lot of copies of your course. Some of our continuing education audience want to create a single course per category and enroll hundreds and thousands of students into each course so they can take that same course on repeat. And that's where continuing education is going to give you a lot of advantages, whereas cohorts is going to allow you to piecemeal the learning much more, but then you have a lot more courses to manage. So it's more courses, less students, or less courses with more students per course is how I look at it.
That was your best curveball ever, Emily. Great job on the explanation.
Thank you.
Go get yourself a copy of LifterLMS. Get the continuing education add-ons if you want to award credit hours for your course, or if for whatever reason you want your students to be able to take the same course over and over again, to retake the same course. You're going to love LifterLMS continuing education. That's it for this Feature Friday. Smash the like button. Tell your friends, drop a comment down below. Let us know what video you'd like for us to make for you next. And we hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.